9 o'clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough Heshy takes flight. Woo! Laughs and wisdom side by side. Heshy show won't be denied. Tune in live and ride the tide. Feel the rush and feel the pride. It's just enough Heshy. Wanna vote for Heshy? It's just enough Heshy. Join the crowd, it's messy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. My Instagram fans that have been on and heard a half a song, and my YouTube and Facebook fans, thank you. Welcome to the show. Soon we're gonna welcome our live audience.
Yes.
And by the way, Tom,
yes,
you look so handsome in that Heshy Tishler t-shirt.
Yeah, I was gonna come in a Simca Felder shirt, but I couldn't find him like him in office.
Of course you couldn't find him. And he doesn't even denounce Mamadani, whatever, Zorhan, whatever.
He may still think Mike Bloomberg's mayor.
Nowhere to be, really, for the last 4 months, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, we didn't see him on the campaign trail. Haven't seen him since he took office.
Right. March, April, May, June, 0. I had somebody call his office. They don't call back. Another guy said, go to the other councilman. This guy is a 0. We have a lot to talk about tonight.
Yes, we do.
About Zorhan, the mayoral election.
Yes.
Even about that, even though I'm not so interested in Puff Daddy or P. Diddy or whatever his name is, but it was an interesting court case.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars were spent. And we're going to even talk about the prosecutor on the show.
Sure.
But, yeah, it is...
Were you breaking out some of your Puff Daddy and the Family music? Were you breaking out some of those tunes with him and the Notorious B.I.G.?
I like Britney Spears.
Hit you one more time, Heshy, with that, huh?
Hit me one more time. I got it. But it's going to be an interesting... By the way, happy July 4th.
Yes, happy Independence Day, everybody. God bless
Are you
America.
going to have a barbecue?
No, I'm not. I'm probably going to the movies, though.
Which one?
The new Brad Pitt movie, F1.
I did hear about that.
Yes.
I do like Brad Pitt. I do like
Yes,
him.
the ladies definitely like him.
Yeah, of course they do.
His new girlfriend's from New York, by the way.
His new girlfriend. They all have new girlfriends going, coming. And, you know, even Hochul's speaker, what is it? A person who speaks for her. What's it called again? The person?
Spokesperson?
Spokesperson, Avi Smalls. He
Yes.
was fired today or suspended. Sexual harassment. They just keep doing this, one after the next. It's always there in politics. We can't fix this problem.
Yeah.
They're running around, sleeping with each other, cheating with each other, stealing money. I don't know. I'm screwing us left and right.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, sir.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the mayoral election. I want to talk a little bit about Trump. I want to talk a little bit.
Yeah, I got
about,
a lot of notes tonight.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, we have a lot of notes, a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about predictions. We're going to talk even about how Zorhan got here.
Yes.
And what we believe and who I'm going to vote for. Even though somebody told me today that I went to the Adams press conference
At City Hall, yep.
And they were screaming, "Oh, why are you endorsing him?" Because I was in a video with him. You should endorse Curtis. You know what? I am a Republican, and I do like Adams, and I would have even suggested to go to Curtis, but when Curtis started collecting signatures for Felder, and he says, "Listen, I had no choice. It's not my problem. The chairman made us do it." So I said, "That's wrong."
The chairman.
But you're a grown man. You know what I mean? I have no problems with the chairman. He lost his election.
It's embarrassing, though, that you're the chairman of the party. You had all these elected officials endorse you, and you lose your election. It's embarrassing.
And the poll sites, too, because remember, he gets right there alone. How many EDs we have by us in our neighborhood? Just alone in my ED.
Well, in your council district, we have like 100 EDs.
And I have like 1,100 pollsters.
Yep.
You got that 1,100 pollsters. You most probably have the same thing there.
Yeah, it's
if
about...
all your pollsters would have voted for you, you would have beaten your competitor.
Yeah, and well, he didn't, and that's why he's going to be sitting on the sidelines this year. And hello to everybody here in the chat. If you want to give us a call, 646-974-1580. The calls are working now. We tested them.
I tested it. I got it fixed. I was on the phone for hours because my producer didn't want to do do it.
Well, I'm going to say no comment on that, but I am going to introduce our radio listeners who are about to come on here just about right now. So I want to say hello to everybody out there in 102.7 FM WNEW, the legendary former rock and roll radio station, WJPR 1640 AM in beautiful Miami, Florida, where I hear, Heshy, one of your former people you used to know moved out there in Miami, Florida. The name David Starobin, I heard, moved out there.
He did?
I heard that he's
Wow.
going to Miami and South Beach, so he beat you there. And also, hello to our flagship WSNR 620 AM. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And
Welcome to our show, everybody, and thank you for listening to our show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, especially about the mayor election. I know you're all nervous what's going on, and we're going to talk about his headlines of grocery stores and so on. I did put in our headline today.
Yes.
I mean, my producer put it in. He wrote Democratic mayor Madman. He should have wrote Democratic primary. I forgot what you'd call him. Democratic nominee.
He's a Democratic nominee, yes.
But I guess he
sounds like Diary of a Madman, which was an Ozzy Osbourne album.
But
Sounds like
even our
got
producer
that.
is saying he's going to win, so he's calling him the mayor.
Well, I mean, it seems like he's the Democratic nominee, and that would lead you to victory.
We're
in
going
New
to
York
figure
City.
this out for you tonight. I want to give you a couple of shout-outs
Okay.
to my beautiful granddaughter, Mira Nava.
You're not favorite part of me.
And Leila Tamar, and Binyamin Hill,
And
Ahuva, and of course Yeshua, but my oldest grandson, and my newest granddaughter Yael Miriam, and of course
Sergeant Peter. I was waiting for that.
I love Sergeant Peter and Ellie. And who are you shouting out for you? Your mom, no?
Yeah, well, I want to first of all thank the band LA Guns because I got to speak with the frontman of the band, Phil Lewis, just a little while ago. I want to thank everybody here in the chat. We have Black Beauty is here talking about a petition for Congress to save social services, and I don't see the link here. I want to say hello to Marty Martinez and everybody out there on YouTube land. So,
well, thank you to coming to the show. And you can call into the show if we put it up on the screen, 646-974-1580. What's that number, my brother?
646-974-15. It was like 867.
You didn't finish. You interrupted yourself.
646-974-1580.
And by the way, everybody, he is wearing the Heshy Tischler for City Council shirt.
You can get them here, 5318 16th Avenue.
No charge. And I'm the official, as you know, the Democratic nominee and an
Republican nominee. You may want to be a Democratic nominee.
No.
And also, HeshyTischler.com is where you can get our merchandise, by the way.
By the way, guys, since we have won the district leader position of Abraham, we are looking for poll workers. You have to work 4 days of election, and you get training for about 4 or 5 days. And if you do it all the days without quitting, because or we just split it up, we need about 150 poll workers. And cause I'm firing all the old poll workers.
Do we even have any in our district?
Right, half of them. I asked. They're not even from our district.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make a difference. I can hire anybody anywhere.
Well, I know some people in our community have been.
Doesn't make a difference.
Work.
You come in for an interview, you can make about $1,200 over those 6, 7, 8
And
days.
if you want to get some help with buildings, we have Green Line Building Compliance, licensed DOB expediters, general contractors, and Green Line Building Consultants. Give us a call at 718-871-0382, 202 Foster Avenue, corner of McDonald Avenue, right past it. Info at greenlinecompliance.com.
I help you with violations, letters. I help you with your paperwork to get rid of your
And
stuff.
also our good friend Anthony Finkel, who was... We got the ad, though. He's running it for us. He was just at SNL.
718-871-0382.
And DPH Property Maintenance Service. 347-228-2625. Our buddy Anthony Finkel was just in Essen and wanted to say hello, and he'll be calling in later. So make sure that you support our buddy Anthony Finkel with DPH Property Maintenance Service. Continue, sir.
Anyways, even today I told you I had one of my biggest inspections that the guy couldn't get into his house for a year. And today he said, you'd never get me in a year ago when he came to me and the people cheated him, his architects and so on. Today, he couldn't believe it when I passed an inspection with 2 objections. It's only for a stupid handrail that wasn't all the way. And I screamed at him about it. I told him about it, but it was certifiable objections that we passed inspection. That all he has to do is send in a picture that he did it and compliance. And he just said, wow, Heshy, I can't believe you did the impossible. I said, I didn't do the impossible. I showed you how to do compliance. I walked you through the system. It took me a little bit longer, but I did it the right way because I'm experienced, I'm good, and I know how to fight the city and the stupid laws and regulations.
By the way, Heshy, I have to commend you because a couple weeks ago, I stumbled upon this on YouTube. You had the State Senator Steve Chan at your building there over there with the Brooklyn Tea Party. And
Yes.
you were talking to him, and you were like talking to him for 5 minutes, and then he finally answered the question, and then he was like,
I know that. I mean, I tried to get him to answer better questions, but you know how the politicians are. They go round and round.
He was saying, I'm friends with this guy and friends with that one.
Yeah,
I won't
said,
come into the district.
Right.
It's not my district. I heard him.
And you know what bothers me the most is that he came to speak, and like he's saying that he can't do anything, but he's going to do something. And it took him a long way to get there. And I asked him straight up what his principles are on certain things. And again, he has accomplished nothing from homeless shelters to budgets. And then he says, I did accomplish something. And
he was trying to say that because they don't have the majority, that
it doesn't make a difference. He can get up there and fight. He can get up there and make friends. He can go around listening to the people's remember, he doesn't only have to sit there and do legislation. He can find out what the people's problems in the neighborhood and then try to solve them with different agencies or call them.
I think it was a mix.
I just want you to know there's a guy today, a guy yesterday who called me on 57th Street, and I called you to find out.
Yes, we're talking about this.
Because he told me he's not in my district. I said, I'm not councilman. I said, no problem. I told him, I know you're in trouble with your house. What we'll do is we'll file the plans. I'll go to court for you. He got an additional violation for working against a stop work order when he wasn't. I told him I'm going to defend him. He says, no, I want you to call the building department and explain it. I said, I don't do that because they don't listen. You have to go to court. I said, but who could do this for you is your councilman Simcha Felder. And I gave him phone number for Felder. I gave him the phone number for Eichenstein. I gave him the phone number for Yeager's old councilman. And for Sutton, he calls me back. A couple hours later, nobody wants to talk to me. They don't let me come. He says, and I'm not in your district. I said, Felder told me, see, 57th Street is cut down right down the middle. You explained that.
Fort Hamilton Parkway to 11th Avenue is Susan Zwang's district, one side of the street.
So you believe it? One side of the street is my district.
It's sort of like the dividing line is 60th Street.
But that's crazy. You don't divide in the middle of a street. You divide it on a block. Anyways.
I guess Kalman didn't like those blocks.
So he called. I gave him the councilwoman's number, and right away she called him back, made an appointment for him, and told him to come up to see a judge to give him advice. Now I know the judge couldn't help him because I know the regulations and how to go about it, but I was so proud that this lady. You see, that's how you do it. You take care of the people's problems. You come up, you navigate, you show them, you tell them what to do, you make a call for them. But again, Simcha Felder says, well, you're not in my district, even though you're on my block, I don't care about you, drop dead.
This is our politicians. But when was the last time you saw Simcha Felder?
You don't. He's nowhere. And he didn't even denounce Zorhan. Because he's a Democrat, so he's got to stick with his party, but it's not the way
he hasn't even joined there's a common sense caucus in the city council, which Kalman Yeager was a part of, and the councilwoman you just referred to, Susan Zwang, along with Bob Holden, another Democrat in Queens, and he hasn't even joined the group.
He can't join the group because he never goes to the city council to show up. He's at home all the time.
You think he forgot where it is?
I think he's in Jersey. I think he went to the Jersey City Council. I want to give you my quote.
All right. I want to hear it.
The fears we don't face become our limitations. I am not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to face my fears. I'm not fearful of my limitations. I will fail if I have to fail, but I'll continue to fight. Most of my life and most of the things I do, I accomplish. I'm trying to get elected.
I know.
And people say, oh, Heshy, we're so proud of you. You keep going. We can see that you never give up. And they make fun of it. But why should I give up? I don't have to give up.
No.
I could retire, and I was planning on retiring from my jobs and all the stuff I was doing, and just to serve my community as city councilman. But if I don't win, which I plan on winning, I plan on retiring this year and spending time with the wife and kids and grandchildren, which I didn't really give a lot of time. I've seen, like I told you that story. Did I tell you the story about that guy who was 61 years old that's born on the same day as me?
Yes, we talked about it last week's show.
Okay, and I had somebody else.
No, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
I had somebody else who passed away recently.
Yeah.
So I'm
With the
just
baseball
telling
diamond, you guys run the diamond
and I took
together.
Linda,
Yep.
And me and Linda went to the doctor this week again, and I checked out all my X-rays and everything. And the doctor says you are in perfect health.
And you've lost almost, it's like to double the Heshy you lost.
Right. So
You're half of Big H
So
now.
when I was at the doctor, I said to the doctor, what do you think about, I'm a little bit overweight. He always complains about it. So he says to me, don't eat anything fatty. So I said, what do you mean, like hamburgers and french fries? He says, no, I meant fatty. You don't eat anything. Tell me that wasn't a good joke. He's got to laugh at it. Where's that laugh track?
Well, you know what? I don't know, but I do have some. I do have a bunch of comments, and I got to get to them.
That
here.
was a good joke and a true joke.
I want to say hello to the JDL 613 Brotherhood.
I love them. They're going to help us on election
Yes,
day.
and they're saying that Heshy, thank you for all that you do. We support you, brother. Also, Black Beauty.
Tell them I cleaned up the office for them, so they can just use the office.
Well, come to the office, 5318 16th Avenue.
It's their office.
Big,
I'm letting them
Big
use
Dave, Big Dave IDF. We're with you, Heshy.
Thank you, Big Dave.
Lisa Leto is here. How you doing,
Wow,
Lisa?
wow.
Lisa's here, and Black Beauty has been going on about
I like
something.
Lisa. She always leaves me comments on the thing, and she's a very
Yes.
smart, intelligent lady.
Absolutely.
and-
Well, all of our people here are very used to being so smart.
yeah.
And Black Beauty says that she would love to be in your district, and we said
Okay.
we'd love to have you.
So I was invited to come to Mayor Adams' press conference.
Yes, this past
And when
Thursday.
I got there, they took me from the gate. They took me inside. I went on the steps. I came early so I can stand in the group over there. And all of a sudden, Boomy comes out.
I remember him. Yes.
And he starts screaming at me, and I have a video of him. And he says, "Oh, you beat Soy." I said, "Not only did we beat Soy, she came in last place." Then he starts screaming that Adams and Zorhan is the same. And then he tells the security that I'm causing trouble because I'm filming him. And they came out to me, and I said it wasn't me. So they actually took me, and they told me to leave the.
I saw that.
To leave the. No, you only saw them pushing me over. They actually told me to leave the courtyard over there where everybody came in through. Think she says, "I'll come get you," right before the press conference started. I says, "No." So I walked out. I was ready to leave. I saw Nachman Kala there. I saw a bunch of Jewish people coming there. And right when I was walking to my car, the security came running, "Come back to the side. We're going to bring you in without going through the line." And I came back inside, and I started standing because I couldn't get on the steps anymore because I made a video with a bunch of people of, talking about...
I saw that.
Right, we were going to support him, and people got angry when they saw my video. "Oh, you're supporting Adams, support Curtis." Now, of course I support the Republican nominee, Curtis. The problem with Curtis is that when he was collecting signatures, he didn't support me. He actually collected signatures for my opponent, and that's not even bad. He supported it for a Democrat.
Yeah.
And he had an excuse. Somebody told him what to do. If you're going to be mayor, you're either the boss of your operation or you're not. So, yeah, I'm going to be supporting Adams, but you know what? I don't know who I'm going to vote for in the final election. I am going to vote down the Republican line because I know that if you vote down the Republican line...
Heshy, Donald Trump doesn't seem to think that much of Curtis either because he praised Eric Adams yesterday.
He praised Eric Adams because he knows Eric Adams is the mayor and he knows it's a Democratic town and he wants so badly. He knows Curtis can beat Zorhan on his own. But with Adams there, leaving the race, and the truth of the matter is, let me tell you what the numbers were.
All right, tell me what the numbers are. I want to hear
You're
this.
going to help me with this.
I'm going to try.
Zorhan won 46 to 36. Am I correct? Or
So almost. So last week when we went into ranked choice voting, it was
before ranked choice voting.
It was 43 and a half Zorhan, 36 Cuomo.
Now this was Zorhan had 400,000 votes and Cuomo had 370,000.
Yeah, it wound up he got 545,000
So
votes.
with the ranked choice voting, the 500,000 votes weren't his. There were somebody else's that they took away from somebody else.
Yeah, Brad
and gave
Lander
him.
was a lot of the
So
votes.
basically, let's see the numbers. Here, out of the 700,000 votes that came in, he got 43%.
Yep.
Face the fact.
A little over 320,000.
So about 11% went to the other candidates. Right off the top, we know that his 40%, when it becomes 100% voting with the 30% that Mr. Slee was going to get, his numbers turn into less than 25%.
I think it's a lot higher than that.
Right,
But
1.5 million voters are going to come out.
because I think that Mamadani got 545,000
No, he
votes.
didn't. He got 400,000 votes.
Yes, but remember this, that there's going to be Democrats I understand what you're saying, but I think he's still getting 545,000.
Why didn't all the Democrats come out during primary time?
They didn't, but of the turnout from the people that voted, his final number was 545.
Okay, so my point is Cuomo did get 36%, even if
did.
it turns into 15%. And even if Zorhan, like you said, gets 500,000 out of 1.5 million votes, so that's only 30% of the 33%. That still leaves Adams and Sliwa. And you know that he's not going to get, Sliwa's going to pull in 30-something%. That's more votes. And you know Adams is going to get at least 25% because he's going to get the black and Latino
I think
vote.
Adams is the wild card in the race. We don't know what he's getting yet right now. We don't know. Remember, Adams, I agree with you that Curtis is getting, I don't know if it's 30. He got 27 last time.
Right.
I could see 25.
So can Curtis win? There is scenarios where he could win.
But he doesn't have a campaign.
But the point, he doesn't need a campaign. He doesn't need a campaign because he's the only Republican nominee, and all the Republicans are scared of Zorhan. They're going to come out to vote, and even more people are
The
going to come
Brooklyn
out.
GOP chairman thought the same thing in his primary, and he lost. I still think on election day, you got to have people out there. Mamdani had 45,000 volunteers.
Right. And Mamadani got a lot of the young Muslim leftist socialist voters. Adams is going to get normal people. I mean, come on. Can I read something to you?
All right, I want to hear this.
I was first of all, by the way, Kamala's daughter. Her name is Ella. Emhoff. She went to vote and started crying because she had like PTSD for going to the same voting booth where she went to vote for Kamala and lost. So
Heshy, how many times you run for office? Do you have PTSD every time you're in the
when
ballot?
I go to the voting booth, oh my God, I'm going to get it if I get a vote. And I've been voting since I'm 18 years old.
Yeah.
That's 40-something years.
Okay.
But I want to just tell you some of the ideas about Zorhan, everybody, okay? I want to just tell you...
And if you want to give us a call, 646-974-1580. And I see somebody trying to call us, but
That was
call...
my son. I'm very
well, he
upset
might
about-
want to call the producer to call into the show.
Right. I don't know why my son, why she's calling into the show.
Well, maybe he's a big fan. And
I hope so. So I want to just tell you something. I want to just read something to you. Ready?
all right, I want to hear this.
First of all, by the way, somebody reached out to me, a friend of Zorhan. His name is Hassan.
Okay.
He's a client of mine. He says, Heshy, we want you to vote for Zorhan Mamadani. I said, are you crazy? He says, really, he's a good guy. And he says, I could get him on your show and you should walk him around the neighborhood. I said, are you? And I even texted Bernie Adams, Mayor's brother, saying Zorhan wants to even maybe come on the show. You know what I mean?
You would be better walking that woman we had come on the show, Diane Sayre, who was basically like Zorhan's positions on Israel.
You know, even if you think Zorhan is normal, first of all, he has no experience, 33 years old, no way to run. You know, they just approved a $116 billion budget.
This past Monday,
The guy can barely even put together or read over the budget of the state assembly over there.
He only passed 3 bills
Right,
there.
and he's going to run a $116 billion budget. He has no experience in government whatsoever. They're going to eat him up alive. But listen to what he's going to do with
All
that
right,
money.
I want to hear what you got to say.
He's going to open up city-run grocery stores.
Now, how is
Now,
that?
we're going to all not get food because those city-run grocery stores are going to get food, and we're going to stand in line like Russia getting bread.
Well, that's...
He's crazy.
He's gonna figure that out, and how is that possible?
Wait a minute. He's going to defund the police. He did say that. Now, he's not defunding it. He will defund it. He's not going to give more
But
money.
explain to me city-run grocery stores.
I don't
Makes
know
no
how
sense.
that... It doesn't... It's 0 cents. Because he's not a capitalist. He's a socialist, and he believes that... And he gets better. He wants to make safe injection sites. We don't want the injection. Don't you get this idea? And everything is a safe injection site. Just go to your doctor, and all those shots are free. What does this say? So he's going to force us into doing shots like de Blasio did.
Oh, it's going to be worse than that because the Democrats...
Now you're not going to be able to go to school. He's going to do the same thing as before. What does safe injection sites mean to me? I don't know what it means. Please explain.
Didn't he also want to put some division of the NYPD with like some, I don't know, like...
You know how many cops are going to leave the police force when he gets in to be mayor? We're going to lose like at least 5,000 cops, if not more.
We were talking about this on last week's show with council candidate Helen Q. Yeah.
But it gets better. Zorhan Mamadani wants to tax whites more. Not only are you going to raise taxes, you're going to raise it to the white because you're white colored. Maybe you should tax the blacks and leave the Muslims alone. I mean, what he just said was completely wrong, but it gets better. If so far you think I'm crazy. Zorhan wants to double down on the plan to target wider neighborhoods with higher taxes and says there should be no billionaires. Maybe there should be no millionaires either. You know, today $1 million doesn't go anywhere. Okay, I mean, it's very good to have it. I know you have $1 million, but...
Well,
I try to get money out of you. I did get $20 out of you. I got really more.
You want $10? I'll give you $10 now.
$10, yeah?
I'll give you $10. We'll be a payola on the air. But I'll give you $10 off the air.
Wow. And here's where it gets really bad, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to freeze rents. Now, you say, well, Heshy...
Explain that, because you're in buildings. Explain how this
my
problem.
Happening. When you know, there's a rent control board that reviews the rent hikes. Now, the reason those rents that that he could freeze, he can't freeze free market rents. Like in my house, if it's not controlled by the city or nothing, I can rent out my apartment to anybody I want on my property or my house. But when it comes to a rent controlled or rent stabilized building, that has certain rent guidelines, so he can freeze those rents, you know, because if a rent is free market, he can't touch that. I could take a $5,000 rent and go to $30 million, even though nobody will pay it, but it's called free market. He can't touch free market.
Yeah.
What he can do is touch the rent control, which is approximately about 2 million people. Okay, now those people complain all the time not to raise rent. So here's my problem: some of them pay $200, some of them pay $800.
Yeah, Manhattan. There's people that live in, let's say, the west side of Manhattan. They're paying like
$1,200, $1,500,
even less, like $800 a month.
So my question to you is like this: you're going to freeze the rents. The oil prices go up to heat the building. The taxes are going up on every building. Fixing the building costs money. If you freeze the rent, how am I going to pay for my building? So I'm going to lose my building, and I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. So my question to you is freezing the rents does what? You're going to give money to who? It just doesn't make sense. If you freeze it, you're going to put thousands of people out of business. Now, if the city tries to take over buildings, which they tried to do many years ago, what's going to happen is they end up selling it for $1, and we get in trouble again. I mean, the city can't manage their own buildings. That's why they hire receivers like us to help them with the buildings. And if you look at the New York City Housing Authority, they have thousands of apartments that are moldy, leaky. They can't.
I was going to say these NYC buildings, that they're a disaster. I mean,
disaster,
to go back
crime.
To that.
I mean, there's one, I've been to all the projects because I used to put in toilets and stoves when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one project in Williamsburg that is beautiful and clean. And the people take care of it themselves and they work with the super.
Yeah.
And I was like so proud of them. They said, yes, we have a good tenants association. We live in Williamsburg. We're surrounded by Jews. There's a lot of Jews in the building.
Right.
And they take care of their building. Even when something breaks, they pay to fix it up. They fix up their own apartments. They don't, and I'm so proud of them because that's what you're supposed to do.
But word project, it doesn't seem to go with that.
I had a tenant that just moved out. I gave him a very great deal on a 4-bedroom apartment. 1/3 below market price, not rent freezing. When they never raised their rent, 8 years, and then I even paid the electric and heat. And at the end of the day, I said, when my taxes got raised, can you pay a little bit extra, like another $150 a month?
All right.
Now remember, I'm 1/3 below market price.
Yep.
Okay, plus I pay for the electric and heat and the cleaning and stuff. And they gave me a hard time on it. When he just moved out, he left the place damaged. And the lady tells me, well, Heshy, the new tenant has to fix it up. I said, you didn't fix it up. You complained about every detail, even the locks. She started to unscrew the locks. She said, I paid for it. I said, no, you didn't. You took it off the rent. Then she tried to take the stove with her. I said, yes, you did buy a stove, but where's the stove, the brand new stove I gave you? Well, your stove was only worth $800. Mine stove is worth $2,000. I said, first of all, your stove is 8 years old, and you can't leave me without a stove. Go buy a new one and replace it. So some people don't even care when you do something good for them. Now I got a new family that came to me with 4 children, and by the way, I approved them, and now I have like 20 people looking for the apartment, and they were willing to pay me more, and I said, no, I know what I wanted before. I'm not going to rip you off, and they're going to fix up their apartment, but I had to fix some little small leak that they made there. I'm going to take out all the garbage. I mean, they left me garbage like you never saw before. So I want you to know, a rent freeze, all it's going to do is hurt the residents because they're not going to get their services. The buildings, the owners are going to collect the rent or whatever they can
people
get.
think that this is just an imaginary thing, but you as a building owner have to deal with all these
and
things.
a lot of those tenants that were complaining about rent freezes or rent hikes, well, we're not going to pay our rent, and they're going to evict me from the place. But we know that it takes 2 years, so we're going to screw the landlord. So that's a legislation I'm going to switch because that has to stop. You can't have somebody sitting there and making stories. I don't have a lawyer. I'm sick. I can't show up. And 2 years later, you get finally evicted, and then you can come up with the money while this landlord has to pay mortgage and interest on your money that you didn't pay him.
Yeah.
And you know what the worst part is?
What?
After these tenants, they screw you with it, whatever, with the rent and so on. Mayor Adams has created a new, there's a legal aid society.
Yes.
And legal aid helps people with rent problems, with
And when you become
stuff.
a lawyer, you'll join legal aid, right?
No. I'm going to be better than legal aid. I'm going to create a team of free lawyers to help people. And I'm not going to charge the city. But my point that I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to do some big cases to make money. But I'm going to be doing it more because I'm retired. That'll be my fourth career because, I was a travel agent.
Yes.
I was a plumber. I was a contractor developer. And now I'm an expedited architectural firm.
And a councilman, too. And a councilman.
I'm hoping to be councilman, correct. I'm a councilman/lawyer.
Yes.
So, what I want to do is so the mayor now created a new legal fund. But you have a legal aid fund. He put $76 million into this fund. But you know what it is? He says, people don't have lawyers. I said, but there's a legal aid fund.
Yeah.
There's a legal aid thing. So he's creating this fund for the illegal immigrants since they can't afford lawyers to protect them against ICE, even though he tells everybody don't mix in against ICE. Which doesn't make sense to me. You take that $76 million, you can spread it out on all the people who can't afford their rent increases, and boom, right there.
You know what that
pays their
sounds
rent
like?
increases.
That Adams is running for re-election.
He's playing both sides of the
Yeah.
game. Okay,
That's
He's
what it
playing
sounds
both
like.
sides of the game, and that's very bad. And again, sometimes I want Adams to win, sometimes I don't, because I don't know what he
But our
wants.
option, again, it's either that or Mamadani. And people here in the chat are talking about it. And Big Dave IDF says, Curtis was never a trumpet. Curtis needs to drop out. I love him, but he can't win.
Well, we can't have Curtis drop out. Not because that means we have. Let me tell you something. There was a reporter. I want you to read this.
Okay.
I just read it today.
And Anthony Finkel's here in the chat. He confirms.
hi, Anthony.
He confirms that I have the big bucks as well.
Good. So there is a reporter. He's a Fox News commentator called Jason Chaffetz.
I heard
And
Jason.
He
I heard
accuses
Jason.
the New York City mayoral candidate, that's what should have been in our headlines, Zorhan Mamadani, of being a radical and wanting to eradicate the Jews, claiming he doesn't believe in them. Chaffetz's inflammatory remarks are part of a broader accusation from conservative and centrist Democrats smearing Mamadani as an anti-Semitic, largely due to his stance on praising global intifada. Intifada. And then it gets worse. He wants to buy up, in 2021, he wants to buy up housing to convert into communes. I understand a commune upstate, but a commune in the middle of New York City, I mean, this guy's lost. He sounds great.
But I'll tell you what that says to me.
He got all the Muslims, like the Jews are split or we don't stick together. He got all the Muslims to come out in 70%. So that's why I don't believe.
And the Democrats are praising him now. Jerry Nadler, your friend, endorsed him.
I know.
Hakeem Jeffries just praised
and Jerry
him.
Nadler is we support Jerry Nadler. And 14% of my community even voted for Zorhan.
We were talking about this actually last week. We were looking at it. There were people in Borough Park that voted for Mamadani. Who are these people?
I
want to meet them.
Right. So that's my problem. I want Mamadani to come on the show. I'm going to ask him some tough questions. But again, this guy is completely lost. But he's screaming like a Trump in a different way, and he's going to rally the Muslim crowd. But I don't believe he's going to rally the Jewish, the Asian. I don't think he's going to rally the blacks. Maybe some will go.
Yeah, I do agree with you that
the black people are not stupid people. He thinks that because some of them are poor or live in lower
well, the city has changed a lot in the sense that
we're more educated.
Well, we also have a newer coalition of people. I think that the Asians you brought up have become conservative. I think that we have some in the African American community
have become more right wing or
Cuomo won the Bronx 2-1. Who would have guessed that? that.
Yeah, but see, Cuomo, you brought that up to me. Cuomo won 29 of the
51 council districts. Yeah, he won the majority.
So basically, if it would have been like an election, you know,
an electoral college,
he would have won the election. He lost because Madani, in the few districts that he won, the 21, he brought out 70% of the Muslim vote. Usually only about 40 or 50% come out.
Yep.
That's how he beat him. And the final vote total, first of all, was 3 times. It went to it went 3 times to
three ranked choice rounds.
Ranked choice rounds. He says, "Oh, May Adams went 5 or 6 times, but you still went 3 choice, so you didn't win it on the first round." And the truth of the matter is, Mr. Zorhan, I don't think you should be mayor. You're not qualified to be mayor. You're too young to be mayor. I have no problem with a young guy running show, but you're not qualified in zero, from no jobs to no history to no police, and you're a radical. You're just standing on the street screaming and hollering, "Give me a job!" And when we give you the job, you're gonna stand there.
But this
do
is
nothing.
a scary thing that the Democratic Party, the mainstream Democrats, are embracing. They're running
because that's
to
what
him.
you do when you win a nomination. You have no choice. But Al Sharpton, who was friends with Cuomo, is telling Cuomo to leave the race. That's not fair. Everybody should have a right to run.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you.
Now that Cuomo is in the race, I don't think he can withdraw. Can he withdraw?
No, the period. So he can no longer withdraw. The period to withdraw was last Friday for him.
So if he doesn't withdraw, he just doesn't run a campaign, keeps his $25 million for his future presidential run. How old is he, by the way?
He's 67, I believe.
So basically, he can wait 8 more years to run for president because people will forget.
I think he was trying to. We talked about this for months. He was trying to win this to run for president.
Yes, he's going to run for president.
And somebody here, one of our listeners, Bob Trackman, wants to talk about one of our listeners in our district, big supporter of yours. Curtis needs the guardian angels to stand up, fight for him, push law and order, public safety, competition, and democracy. I agree, but I just don't see anything from Curtis doing that. And I think, like you made a great point, Curtis had an opportunity in that special election we had a few months ago to support you. Curtis had an opportunity to rally people to go behind you, but instead he went with the Brooklyn GOP losing chairman, and he went and collected signatures with his name on with the Simca Felder, and that's why Curtis is a loser right now, and that's why the Brooklyn GOP chairman, your chairman's a loser too.
I am not going to allow the poll workers, because the poll workers always vote, and it's about 1,100 poll workers we have. I am not going to allow those poll workers to be chosen by anybody else. Now, they're saying that we didn't win the election. Now, we won the election, which we did win.
You won an election.
And we won the district leader. We have control of
You
the
won
poll
2
sites.
elections, by the way. You won a district leader race, and you won a race in Bay Ridge against the chairman. This guy, George Sarantopoulos, he won his election
George,
by 46 votes.
And thanks to me helping you out and getting you there. So I did win it. I just can't win my seat.
But now you have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
Now you show, they can't say anymore, oh, Heshy's run 16 times. Oh, Heshy's a loser. He's a gadfly. No, Heshy Tischler just beat the Brooklyn GOP chairman, and Heshy Tischler just beat Sawyer Radin. So it shows to me, who, by the way, is supposedly the chief of staff to Lester Chang, another guy who's an assemblyman in name.
We have to. So I don't know if we're going to, no matter what, I want Sawyer gone.
Well, she's not holding office.
She's the chief of staff. She's telling everybody now that the landlord, so she can collect money, that she's for not freezing the rents and fighting with the rent control board. But she herself was evicted. She herself was a squatter. And she had to be dragged out on the news cameras. I have a picture of her. I went to the mayor's. I told you I was talking about that. I went to the mayor's thing, and they escorted me out. They escorted me back. So this guy, Jeff Colton, which everybody told me not to fight with, and when I came back, I was standing on the side. I made a couple of videos. So they sent the security over with a camera. They filmed it. It was so perfectly filmed. It wasn't like a fake filming. How the security pushed me away from the side because I got back to the side of the steps to go to the back to watch the press conference. So it was like a setup, and I texted the mayor and his brother, said, "You made me look like a fool." And they said, "Heshy, the rabble rouser."
Yep. Republican rebel rouser Heshy Tischler
was moved to the side. They didn't say I was thrown out. So that's my point too, is that they were filming something to cause me trouble. Not that I cared. It gave me more publicity at the time anyway.
They got like 50,000 engagements on X, but 50,000 people saw it.
Right. Anyways, I just want you to know, in New York City, is choosing Zorhan Madani, the Jewish people, as their candidate for mayor in America's most Jewish city, have nominated an outspoken critic of Israel, alarming some of the New York's Jewish community. But still, he's been getting a lot of Jewish votes, and it doesn't make sense to me.
A lot of self-hating Jewish people. Look at Brad Lander. I mean, he's a guy that represented Borough Park in the city council.
Right.
And this guy, this clown, teamed up with Mamadani and takes every position that's against a district he represented.
I'm so happy he's finally out of public office. I mean, this guy was the biggest loser when he was councilman. And just like Felder, I mean, here's a guy that got his seat again. I just wish he'd be out in the streets, walking around, even campaigning, taking phone calls. I mean, call Simcha Felder's office. Really, people, go call. The first person that gets through to him gets $20, $50. You're not getting him on the phone. I'm telling you, if somebody can record you speaking to Simcha Felder, you get $50. You don't have to ask anything. Just talk to him about his girlfriend, his wife. But you're not getting him on the phone.
Well,
there's nothing you
let me get to a few comments. Infinite Justice wants to say, what the heck is wrong with Curtis? Also, Black Beauty wanted to say the Brooklyn GOP chairman attended the parade in his own district. The winner did not. And also, Black Beauty says, tell the whole story about Sawyer.
No, I think the winner did go. George did go to. He told me he went to the parade.
He
just couldn't march in the front.
Gotcha.
The chairman marched in the front.
Well, because the chairman pulled the
string.
string.
When I tried to march with that parade like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I remember this.
They didn't let me. Remember? No. They pushed me aside. But I still walked to the front and carried part of the flag. So they don't let you. You have to stand in line and all the way in the back until you get there. But I know George was there. He specifically told me he was there.
Yeah.
And he took a picture.
Well, you know what?
Somebody.
This guy, the chairman, could have been in all the parades, all the things, but he lost his race. Also, want to talk about the rent control vote with the committee. Also, Adams wanted a smaller increase this election year. Committee voted for a bigger increase. Kibbutz,
well, you keep voting, zero increase. You think you can't? Everybody thinks the mayor can't stop it. The mayor doesn't control the rent control board or
essentially this was.
But the mayor has the executive power, like de Blasio.
Yes, and that's what Black Beauty confirmed.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is the problem. That he could freeze it. He can't stop the increases, but he can freeze the rents where they are today. Rent control board can keep renting and raising it, but there's nothing they can do if he freezes.
And also, and she confirmed that the entire committee is appointed by the mayor, so effectively he controls the rent committee. Also, JDL 613 Brotherhood wants to put a couple comments. Bread lines are to come. Bread lines and destruction if Mamadani wins. Safe injection is a location where addicts can go and use drugs in a location.
Oh, wow.
They don't actually help anything, which is
I know.
That's sad. That's sad that we're basically seeing that. Black Beauty wants to say that she did not see George at the parade. He was there from beginning to end.
He's a pretty big guy. You must have seen.
You know what? I don't know the issue with that.
I know George was there.
But I know that George Sarantopoulos, Heidi, what I do know that George Sarantopoulos got to his entire district and he won his primary and the other guy didn't.
I just want you to know, Heidi, George's wife, has a special organization that she gives out gifts, and I know I was donated to that thing for $1,000 to give out gifts to special children, not children not needy, but children that cannot afford a toy. They can't afford that extra thing. I'm so proud of how she raised money and gave out toys, and she invited me to that event. George does a lot of community service. Every time somebody's in trouble, he knows who to call, or he sends them my way, and he gives me an up. Even though he can't do something always. And George is very smart, so I believe that if George gets into city council and I get into city council, we could make it.
Well, I think we're focusing on you right now, so I'll let that district figure that itself out. But if you are here,
I say that because Ina Vernikova,
all right, let's talk about
less
that.
than a zero, who beat, because we didn't like Ari Kagan anyway.
No,
but here's Ina.
Ari Kagan runs.
She first goes for the casinos. She votes for.
Let's
the
talk
casinos.
about this. It's a good topic.
She votes for the casinos in our neighborhood. It's right here in our backyard.
Yep.
A gambling casino where casinos have ladies of the evening.
Yep.
I'm not allowed to say the bad word of hookers or whores, but they have gambling. Drugs get sold over there, and bad things happen. Robberies and people get flipped over there. So and as it is, Coney Island's a tough neighborhood.
Very tough
neighborhood. The cops
neighborhood.
can't control it now by putting those casinos there. Even though they promise they're going to put $8 billion into the neighborhood. Big deal. We put billions of dollars into the neighborhood when we build it up now with the apartment buildings. These buildings cost $50 million to put up. So we don't need the casinos there to make money and suck it out of us. So by putting the casinos there, so she voted for it. Then
Yes.
when the community screamed, she said, well, I don't want to do it. She couldn't take back.
And then she voted for the
she
other
didn't
places.
vote back.
Yeah.
She couldn't vote back. She voted for it, and then she says, I don't want it. I'm going to try to stop it.
Yeah.
Not only couldn't she stop it, the city code just approved the rezoning to put the casino there.
Yes.
So you're right. It's a toss on which of the three areas, but Coney Island, my neighborhood, did win the lottery of the one of three. So they have a 33% chance to open that casino, and you and I know that Coney Island's going to win it.
Well, we're going to find out, but I think you make a great point in that Ina, who was for it, but all of a sudden the backlash was so strong that she had to be against it because she was worried about her own election.
That's all she's worried about. And again, look at the legislation she passes. No hate crimes, which is very nice, no hate day. But she hasn't done anything.
No.
She hasn't brought any new buildings. She hasn't worked. You know what one of my plans is when I become councilman?
What's that?
So I'm going to create jobs. Oh, Heshy, how are you going to create jobs? So what I plan on doing, one of my first things is to sit with all my business owners in my entire district. Plus go to some other districts as well. I'm going to take all my business owners. I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to help you.
Okay.
I'm going to help you with your building violations. I'm going to help call the city to back off a little bit on sanitation. I'm going to work with all of you. I'm going to try to find tricks to get you tax breaks. As a city council, I'm going to try to push legislation to help with the rents. What I want you to do is to all join up and help me create 50,000 jobs. Create, even if I can't do 50, 10,000, and I'm talking jobs for new young married guys, and I'm not talking $300 jobs, $1,000 a week jobs to start. Give them the training. I want to create jobs from within my community with the business owners. Give me one job, give me 3 jobs, pay a little bit more to my people. I'm going to create my own jobs, and in return, the business owners will first of all be able to create more revenue for our community.
But that's also staying here in the community.
Right.
That's an important point because that's helping the community, people that no longer can afford to live in the community, stay in the community.
And build houses here. Change the zoning here. Yes, let us have more housing. Yes, let us build increases. Yes, I was very happy with Mayor Adams with the
City of Yes.
City of Yes. But now they're stopping the Airbnbs. They're changing the rules. I mean, the hotel union now is supporting Zorhan.
Yep.
My question is, what do you think Zorhan's going to do when he wins election? He's going to stop the
But
hotels.
this is a simple, well, I just want to get some crumbs rather than nothing. So they
It doesn't
know.
work like that's the dumbest thing on the
Well,
planet.
that's what a lot of people are doing
And
by
you
going
think
with
Zorhan
Zorhan.
is going to do that? He's going to have all those Muslim voters where he's really gotten his money, the grassroots money. Now he's getting it. He's going to screw them all. Or he's going to be one of them.
Well,
I don't get it.
I don't know.
So just again for you, ladies and gentlemen.
And if you are here, you got a few more minutes to give us a call, 646-974-1580. 646-974-1580.
By
If
the
you
way,
want to give us
New
a
York
call,
City,
give us a
which
call.
has 4.7 million active registered voters.
Sounds about right.
In 2021,
Okay.
23% came out. Aren't we embarrassed? Aren't we embarrassed? I'm hoping that the people are so scared of Zorhan that if we do get 40% of the vote coming out, Zorhan has no chance to win. That's a fact because they're not Democrats. A lot of them are Republicans. And you notice, what was Trump's total at the end of New York City? He got like 40% of the vote?
30%.
He only got 30% also?
Got 30 in New York City. New York State, you're correct. He got 42% in New York State, which was the best any Republican had did, I think, since George H.W. Bush.
So we have a lady by the name of, what's her name? What's her name?
Elise Stefanik. She's a congresswoman. Yep, young lady.
Does she have a chance of beating Hochul?
I don't think she does, to be honest. I know there's a poll that came out.
No, I saw 47 to 22.
47 to 24. She was winning the Republican primary. The main thing that was in the poll, Hochul has a favorability of a negative. It's 42% favorable, 47% unfavorable. But as you stated, she's down 23% in that poll. And Mike Lawler, who represents Rockland County, obviously Muncie
But
and
I
some other
think
places.
with Trump helping her and with the money that she'd be getting from the Republican people from Congress and all around the country.
Well, she's got
I think
power.
Stefanik-
She's
yeah.
attractive. That's
And
a big thing. She's a
smart,
good speaker.
Too. She's right. She's a great speaker.
She's an attractive
I
woman.
actually
There's no question.
did not
She
like.
brings a
I
lot.
thought Kamala was dumb, and Stefanik is really. I really think you ever hear.
No,
you saw how
I think
Kamala's-
listen, Elise Stefanik is an outstanding congresswoman, but I just think she doesn't win a New York governor's race.
Well, we got to get rid of her anyways. But, so before we
Yeah.
get to the end of the show, there was a court case, like the court case of the century, with Puff Daddy. What's his name again? Sean Combs.
Sean Combs,
Now,
Diddy, Puff Daddy.
They went after him. The person who was his prosecutor was Comey, the daughter of the ex-FBI agent. So she was trying to make a name. I mean, how do you put a RICO Act, even if you're right on sex parties and drug parties? And so he won. It was almost impossible anyways to prosecute him or find a guilty plea on that. That's what they're saying, especially with the evidence that they showed.
I thought the evidence was so overwhelmingly against him because there was so many
not
people.
for the RICO Act. Not for the RICO Act of doing drugs and so on. They proved nothing on the RICO Act that he was like a gangster. They did prove the sex crimes and the parties.
Yeah, that.
So basically, they did not get him on any sex crime. What the sex crime was is that he took somebody over the state lines without their permission or forced him to come. So basically, he got dismissed 3 of his crimes, the 3 big ones. He got convicted on 2 crimes. Small crimes of not kidnapping because he'd be dead, of sex trafficking. That means he took somebody he trafficked them. He took them from one place to the other place, even with their consent. And then at the end, they didn't consent, so he took them from one place to the next.
Yeah.
So that's called sex trafficking. The most he can get on that is 10 years for each of the things, which usually don't get more than 6 years. He's already, and they're going to run consecutively, and he's going to get maybe 23 months, and he's already served 9 months. He can get out now, so they asked for bail.
Yeah,
now,
I saw that.
The crime isn't so bad, so the judge denied him because his own lawyer said that since he did an abuse of his partner, which wasn't his wife, and he hurt her, so he's violent and he's dangerous. That's not true. Put on a bail. Don't let him out of the house. He's entitled now, even though I don't like Sean Combs, but he says to the judge, said, your own lawyer said that you are a danger. He didn't say he's a danger. He said he did some bad things, and Sean won't do it again, and he's 9 months. The truth of the matter is, they should have given him bail, but they're going to do it again. And when he gets sentenced, he might get sentenced only to 23 months, and with 9 months already served already.
It took about a year, 14 months.
It's not even 14 months because you get off in such a thing, even though it's a violent crime, you still get off like 10 or 15%. So he's only going to do about 8 or 10 months.
That's what money can buy you, huh?
And he's going to appeal it. And they can't get him back for the 3 other crimes because he wasn't a mistrial like, what's his name again, like Weinstein. He was actually dismissed those crimes.
You know what? That's what money can buy you.
Yeah.
Money can buy you the opportunity. Because if that was an average person, forget about it. But because it was who he was and the amount of legal team or fees he was able to come up with to fight his charges, well, that's why he may be out in, like you said, 8-9 months.
So now I'm going to tell you what Zorhan's mentality is.
All right, I want to hear his mentality.
We have a guy by the name of Vivek. What's his name again?
Yeah.
Vivek
Ramaswamy?
Ramaswamy.
Okay.
I actually liked him.
You liked him?
Would have liked him for president.
Yeah, we talked about him last year on the show.
And I really liked him. Common sense, straight out talking.
I remember talking about him.
Even defended Trump during the debates, even though he was running against Trump.
Yeah, I remember that.
Trump took him into the administration. Now he's running for what?
Governor of Ohio.
Governor of Ohio. He is a Republican right-wing person, and
Yes,
you know
he
what he
is.
says?
What?
He says now that he's screaming at his own. He criticizes members of his own party over the radically charged backlash against Zorhan Mamadani, the apparent winner. He responded on X. He called out what he termed the race-obsessed fringe of the right. Now. And he said, it's a shame to watch the race-obsessed fringe of the right try to outdo the race-obsessed woke left. Now, you are a right-winger. You see... I know you're a Muslim, or you were a Muslim, he's a Christian, or whatever it is, and I know you, but the point being is, let's face the fact. Zorhan's mentality, his speaking, I mean, you wouldn't say to have communes. You wouldn't say to have all of this. You ran as a Republican. There's no...
And Trump even said that he's a communist. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't know why he would say
but that's
that.
my point, that Zorhan has pulled out people to come vote for him, not because they agree with him, because he's one of theirs. That's the way it works, and that's not the right way to elect a mayor, a governor, a president, somebody.
We
that will
tried that with,
represent
but we tried that with Obama. It didn't work.
Right.
Everybody said we gotta elect Obama because of his skin color. We gotta get Obama in there, and he was a disaster for this country. And Zorhan, I think, will be 10 times worse than Obama because He's practically to the right of Obama. It's scary to me that the Democratic Party doesn't even look like the Democratic Party of 10 years ago.
I know.
That's a scary,
I'm
really
embarrassed
thing.
because I really want to be a Democrat.
I know.
But I can't. I just can't. They're actually mentally ill across the board.
Well, Adams has basically been saying the same thing the last 2 years. Adams has been saying the Democratic Party's lost its mind.
I'm going to get on before we get off.
And Marty Martinez says good night. Obviously, thank you. And also, Black
Marty.
Beauty wanted to say Lee Zeldin lost last time as well, so it's very tough.
He only lost by 3%. He had 47% of the vote.
Hochul's an incumbent, though.
I know.
You know?
But I want to tell you something. Iran was blown up, and there's leaks. Why would we leak information, and then CNN gets information?
So what do you think then with Iran? Is it?
So
can
Iran,
they build?
I know
Not
for
build?
sure that they're I know for sure that 2 years. That's what the report's saying. They're 2 years minimum to get back into action. And I know when they get close, Israel will blow them up again, or if they start acting crazy. So they better make peace now, because if not, if they keep acting crazy like this, they only have a ceasefire. There's no peace agreement.
But do they want to act normal?
I don't think so.
You know, somebody made the point.
They arrested a lot of Jewish people and are hanging them as spies just to punish us.
Somebody made the point that this should have been done 45 years ago.
Yes, you're correct, 100%.
You know, somebody,
especially when they kidnapped our hostages, we should have just gone in there and blown.
Yes,
up the whole
was somebody. Maybe somebody said that Ronald Reagan had the opportunity.
He
to
did.
do
That's
it.
what scared them. And right away, when Ronald Reagan came, they right away released the hostages the next day after he got elected.
I don't
Anyways,
know.
thank you for listening to our show, listeners from WSNR.
1027 FM, WNEW, WSNR flagship 620 AM, WJPR 1640 AM in beautiful Miami, Florida. See you next week. Thanks for being with us.
You know, I love Netanyahu. Yes. I love the way he talks. I love even though they put him back on trial, they're going after him. This man, you know, somebody said, describe Netanyahu in one word. I simply describe him as a hero. A lion, if you want, that's what it is. And a lot of people say, oh, you know, a lot of the Muslims say he's a murderer, he's a pig. The man is a genius in politics, a genius in war. He saved his people. 1,000, some of his people were killed. 200-something were kidnapped. They're still missing. We know they're all dead. And Hamas is on the run. And you're right, these guys had years, 20-something years to build their caves, and they lived like animals. They didn't live like the Israelis, and
No.
they killed their own friends. They didn't really go kill anybody major Israel. Even their bombs today, they killed 3 people, 5 people. They killed about 200 soldiers. But the point of the matter is, they destroyed their own country, and they don't care. And you know what? I saw a video the other day of the Iranian people, some of their crazy people, holding their children up as martyrs. I mean, your country is torturing you, you know, abusing you. Even that Libyan Gaddafi,
yeah.
you know, he ran a country, even though he was vicious, you know, because he was a mean person. You know, nobody in his country paid taxes. Every person, when they got married, $50,000 they got. Gas was 14 cents a gallon. I mean, the man
Sounds like
made
Andrew
sure
Yang
that
was trying.
80% of his country was educated.
Yeah.
And they were given money to go abroad. And if you couldn't get a job right after you graduated college, you got paid a fee to go looking for a job, the same amount that your field would give you. But you're right, he did take people off the street, he did abuse women, he did do whatever he wanted, he was the king. But the point is, he did run a better country than the Iranians, and he treated his people better. The Iranians don't treat their people better.
No, we know that. We know that what they've done to their people, and just it continues, and that's why some people.
But you all scream about Israel. You all scream about, and you know what? You think what the protests under Adams is bad. You just wait till Mamadani comes in. This city's gonna go.
Well,
wild.
I even hear that DeSantis just came out and said that for all the people that want to flee from New York to Florida, that he's going to charge an entry tax. So I guess then are we doing this show next year from Florida? Is that what you're telling us, Heshy? That we're going to be going to Miami next year?
I guess we are. Well, we're gonna end our show on one topic.
All right.
This girl, AOC, who's nowhere to be found in the world, does not help all the people. She's constantly on Congress, and now
But she finds a way to help Mamadani.
and she's on the floor screaming about Trump's mega bill. You don't even know how to read a bill, girl. I mean, you just know how to make money, and with $9 million and you're a bartender.
That's crazy that
how
she
does
went
a
from
bartender
nothing
with
to $9 million.
$9 million? So that's it. But you also were upset about the bill.
I was upset about the big, beautiful bill because it was, first of all, 887 pages long. and it raises the debt, $3.3 trillion over the next decade. It's going to
but we're going to but he has a way to bring the debt down with tariffs, with bringing the economy back together.
That was the congressional budget office.
What I understand is that according to Trump, you are right that over the next 5 years we're going to lose $3.3 trillion
over the next decade.
But supposedly he's going to bring in a little over $15 trillion over the next decade.
I don't know. Elon Musk didn't seem to like it either. Elon Musk basically said the Republicans they love pork barrel. That's what they did. I mean, listen, they were buying off people to vote for this. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska basically got exempt from these.
Yeah, even, what was it, a tie in?
It was 50-50, and J.D. Vance had to break the vote.
I love J.D. Vance. He is the perfect vice president and the perfect future president, but DeSantis is going to run against him.
DeSantis, I do think, will run again because, also in Florida, they built, this is what I do like, this alligator Alcatraz thing for the illegals.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before we went on the air, and this thing is 28,000 square feet. It's basically you have 200 security cameras, 400 security personnel, and it's up to 10 miles in the Everglades, and this is going to really, I think, deter a lot of people. Trump thought it was great. He visited the site, and, so if you want to come into this country and break the law, that's where you're going. Good luck, and good luck trying to get out because these alligators are basically they're like right next to them.
Anyways, thank you, everybody, for listening to the show.
Happy July 4th, everybody. Be safe out there.
Oh, one more thing before you go.
Yes.
You know those little motorcycles, motor pads?
E-pads?
Some of them are so small with the thing, and they drive something's in front of you, cut you
Uber
off.
drivers use them. Uber Eats guys.
So they cut you off, and I was driving 5 miles an hour on Day Hill Road.
I know Day Hill
Not
Road.
25. And this guy cuts in the middle of the street right in front of me, so I have to slow down, and I ran over his back tire.
Oh, my God.
I heard it, and I stopped right away. I could have killed him, but thank God I was going 5 miles an hour. He got upset that the plastic in the back broke. I said, you ran it. You're not supposed to be in the middle of the street. You're supposed to be on the side. And he wanted money. I said, go jump in the lake, call the cops. And he could, and those little motorcycles, they're not the electric motor, whatever it is, are terrible.
Mopeds.
And I'm so scared of them. Now, I really wasn't against them, but now I'm completely against it because those guys don't know how to drive.
No, they don't.
They should get a license or be taught before they drive.
I think there was some talk about that. A couple comments before we go. By the way,
Let's play that
Big
music.
Dave, I wonder how the Muslims feel about Zorhan going to the gay parade waving the rainbow flag.
Yeah.
Happy 4th, everybody. God bless America. Also, keep the momentum going. Great show, Heshy. And don't be fooled about Iranian socialism. Iran pays for freebies with oil revenue. So did Venezuela and Chavez. Be safe out there, and hopefully Heshy doesn't play with fireworks on Friday. Producer, play that music, everybody. Have a great night, everybody. Happy 4th. God bless America. And hope to see you next Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time on the Just Enough Heshy Show. And we'll be back. Thank you,